everybody, and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode, we're reviewing Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor from 2022. Let's jump right in with the pre-show. We grade everything here on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. First match of the pre-show, which is marked as a 0 hour. We get Colt Cabana versus Anthony Henry. A couple interesting things here. Anthony Henry came out with J.D. Drake, who wrestle on Independence as the workhorseman. And Colt Cabana was back in, I guess you would say, his pre-Dark Order gear. So I don't know if maybe Colt Cabana is not considered part of the Dark Order anymore, or he just did this because he was wrestling in Ring of Honor. I know that from what I've heard, he's been assigned to Ring of Honor as his part contract. Colt does pick up the win here. I'm giving this match a 4. I thought it was a really good opener for the preview show, in a really good way to draw some fans in that may have not bought the pay-per-view already. Maybe they will after watching this. Next up, we get a 6-man match. The Shinobi Shadow Squad, actually a tag match, I'm sorry. The Shinobi Shadow Squad of Cheeseburger and Eli Isom versus the Trustbusters, which is Ari Daivari, formerly Ariya Daivari, and Slim J, who we haven't seen in Ring of Honor in a while. This was a good match, a little bit down from the first match. A little bit surprised. I know there was some spoilers about Ari Daivari and Slim J, and I'm not going to say what they are because they haven't aired yet. But you'll see them in upcoming episodes of AEW. So this was decent. It was an okay match. Ari Daivari and Slim J pick up the win. I'm going to give this one a 3. Next up, we get a backstage interview where we find out that Prince Nana has bought out Tully Blanchard Enterprises to make it the embassy once again. If you're familiar with Prince Nana and his run in Ring of Honor, there have been a couple different iterations of the embassy. Kind of a legendary stable in Ring of Honor lore. So, interesting where they're going to go with that. Leads us right into a match. Representing the embassy, Brian Cage, Khan, and Toa Leone, the Gates of Agony, those two are, versus Alex Zane, Tony Deppen, and Blake Christian. I really hope that Zane, Deppen, and Christian get signed at least to a Ring of Honor deal, because all three of them are fantastic. Not that the Gates of Agony and Cage aren't good either, but I think these three are guys that if you wanted to build the new Ring of Honor, the rebirth of Ring of Honor, whatever you're going to call it, they would be three guys that I would bank on to being part of that rebirth. This was a good 6-man match. The newly formed version of the embassy, Cage, Khan, and Leone pick up the win. I'm giving this one a 3 as well. I thought it was pretty good. Now, last but not least, on the last match of the pre-show, we get Allison K versus Willow Nightingale. Willow is so over. I mean, you got a star in the making right there. You could keep her in Ring of Honor and help her to build that Ring of Honor women's division. You can bring her in AEW, and she could be a viable contender for either of the women's championships there. I thought this was a really good match. These are two good building blocks for the women's division in Ring of Honor if they keep Allison K and Willow Nightingale there. Willow does pick up the win here. I'm going to give this one a 4. Like I said, pretty good pre-show. The first and last match would entice me to buy the show if I wasn't already thinking about it, if I didn't already have it purchased by the time the show started. But pretty good either way. Now we roll into the main show, and in a little bit of a surprise, the Ring of Honor Heavyweight Championship goes up first. We get Jonathan Gresham defending against Claudio Castagnoli. Gresham now with Prince Nana, and Claudio with William Regal. I don't know if maybe there was an issue with Tully Blanchard. Who knows what that's going to come out of it, but it kind of feels weird that Gresham just joined Tully Blanchard and then he would sell his contract like this. I thought this was a really fun match. A little bit faster, a little bit shorter than I would expect it for a Ring of Honor World Championship, even though it is the first match of the card, of the main card. Claudio picks up the win. I'm giving this a 5. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a great match. Next up, we get an interview with Daniel Garcia, talking about he doesn't care about pure rules, that Wheeler Yuta went over a line and it's going to be personal, so that's leading into their pure title match later. Then we get the Ring of Honor 6-man championship. The Righteous, which is Dutch, Bateman, and Vincent, which is kind of weird because Vincent's part of Honor No More, who are denouncing Ring of Honor in Impact, so a little bit strange. They go into the match as the 6-man champions, and they're wrestling against Dalton Castle and Brent and Brandon Tate, the Tate twins, who are also known as the Boys. I thought this was a good, solid match. I'm pretty sure this may have been a way to take the 6-man title off of Vincent, because it seems that he has signed an Impact contract. Although I do know that Impact and AEW have no problem working with each other, so I would assume that olive branch also extends to Ring of Honor. I thought this was a good match. Dalton Castle and the Boys pick up the win. I'm going to give this a 4. And I know I'm kind of rushing through these. There's a lot on the card, and I don't want to make a 4-hour video, so I do apologize. Next, we get an interview segment with Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. This is pretty good, kind of going over what they want to do and why they're wearing white tonight, which is pretty good. Then we go right into the pure title match with Wheeler Yuta representing the Blackpool Combat Club versus Daniel Garcia representing the Jericho Appreciation Society in what is now and probably going to be a feud for the rest of eternity. Again, this was a really solid match. I enjoyed this. I liked the parameters of the pure title and how you have to work within that and structure the match in it. I don't think it's for everyone. I think this is more of a hardcore fan type match. This isn't going to be the type of match that brings the general public in. That this may have been their first Ring of Honor show. This is not going to be the one that sells them on Ring of Honor. But it was a good match either way. Yuta retains the pure title here. I'm going to give this a 4. Next up, we get a brother versus brother match in what we're told is the first time they've wrestled. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know enough about their runs in Mexico to know if that is true. Pretty cool if it is, because they're both awesome. We get Roosh versus Dragon Lee. This was a really solid match. I really loved this. They went after each other like they hated each other's guts. There was some really vicious stuff going on here. There was a lot of dangerous spots. Dragon Lee putting Roosh through the table, and it almost looked like Dragon Lee went head first through the table. Roosh doing a basically overhead belly to belly off of the apron to a running Dragon Lee onto the floor. The chops they were doing against each other. It just was a brutal, brutal match. For two people that are brothers, this was really something. Roosh does pick up the win here. I'm going to give this one a 5. This was just a really good match. Next up, we have a Ring of Honor Women's Championship match. Mercedes Martinez defending her title against Serena Deeb. Again, the streak continues. Another really good, top quality match here. I loved this. I thought there was question between who was going to win at points. They worked the submissions. They worked to each other's strengths. I think Serena Deeb looked better here than she has ever in AEW, and that's no knock because she's looked great there. Mercedes Martinez as well. They're both fantastic wrestlers. Mercedes retains here. I'm giving this one a 5. I thought it was a fantastic match. Next up, we get the match that was probably the most hyped up on AEW television. Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal for the TV championship. And we get Jay Lethal and Joe go at it before the match. Satnam Singh gets involved. Joe goes through a table. There's a bunch of stuff before the match even starts. Singh gets sent to the back. Lethal throws everything in the world at Joe. Joe finds a way to fend him off. Joe retains the TV title here. I'm giving this a 4. I thought it was good. Really good. Not quite as good as the 2 matches before it, but still a really good match. Then we go into the main event of the evening for the World Tag Team Championship, and I love this because Ring of Honor in its history has always put the tag team titles on equal footing as the men's single title. So there have been a lot of times where the single title was lower on the card than the tag titles, which is awesome that they do that. I think it shows how important their tag team division is. I wish other companies would take this into effect, and not just on TV shows. I'm talking about on pay-per-views. How great would it be to see a tag team title match main event at WrestleMania? That would be insane, or All Out. It would be insane to see that. We get FTR versus the Briscoes in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This was nuts. They did everything you could possibly do. They were all bleeding. It was just an amazing match. The Briscoes won the first fall. The FTR came back and won the next 2. I mean, there was everything. A second row pile driver. Briscoes had a doomsday device, a redneck boogie. The FTR hit big rig. I mean, it was just amazing, the stuff that they were doing. Dax Harwood was bleeding from his chest from being chopped. Mark Briscoe was bleeding from getting headbutted. Cash Wheeler was bleeding from the side of his head, which may have not been on purpose. I mean, this was as good as their first match was. This was even better, and I kind of was hoping it would go to a time limit draw. That way, we could see a number 3 at some point. Alas, it didn't. FTR did pick up the win. And I'm going to do this. I don't do it that often. But when it's apropos, I will. Because other people that have 5-star ratings, you know who you are, can break their scale. I can break mine too. Besides, we don't take it that seriously here. As you notice, my ratings are probably a little more generous than the more famous 5-star ratings. I also don't go by percentage, so it's not 4 1/4 or 4 1/2. It's either a 4 or 5. This match, however, they broke the scale. I'm giving it a 6. I thought it was that good. I think it's right there in the contention for match of the year for me, and probably going to be hard-pressed to find anything that tops this anywhere this year. I thought it was fantastic. With all that said, I thought the show from top to bottom was fantastic. I'm going to give the show overall a 5. Very enjoyable, very well paced. I did not get tired with a show with 11 matches on the card between the pre-show and the main show, going just around 4 hours. I didn't get tired of what I was watching, which happens a lot when you watch these marathon type shows. Everything was interesting. It seemed like everything had a purpose. The main card had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches, and out of those 7 matches, only one of them was not a title match, so that shows you how important it is, and that one was a brother versus brother match for the first time. Even the pre-show, you felt like there was some interest there. Colt Cabana coming back to Ring of Honor. Cheeseburger being in a Ring of Honor match. Cheeseburger is well loved. The new Embassy, Allison K and Willow Nightingale, definitely felt like a number 1 contender match. All in all, again, I give the whole show a 5. I thought it was awesome from top to bottom. With all that being said, smash that like button, share this, subscribe if you haven't, and if you've made it all the way to the end, let's put a FTR in the comments for FTR winning the match. And my name is George Coles, and this has been my review of Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor from 2022.